Hey, how's it going guys? It's Nate here. And today, SKSE stopped working again, so you know what that means. Skyrim's newest wave of creations have dropped, bringing about 4 new items to the Elder Scrolls V's marketplace, each priced between 4 and 500 credits. On top of that, uniquely, Bethesda also updated a few other pre-existing creations, mostly just in the form of texture improvements and bug fixes. In today's video, we're going to review each of these new additions, and assess what they offer so you can decide if this is how you'd like to spend your hard-earned Bethesda bucks. Anyway, without further ado, let's ado further. Starting off, for 500 credits, we have Arms of Chaos. Arms of Chaos introduces 2 new staves, the Arm of the Sun and the Arm of the Moon. Each comes with their own impressive custom model and texture. Unfortunately, their effects aren't quite as unique. The Arm of the Sun is basically a slightly below average fire staff. It burns targets for 20 points and has a 30% chance to do an additional 20 more points of shock and frost damage. The Arm of the Moon, on the other hand, isn't much better, as it only offers a random chance to demoralize or frenzy a target for 60 seconds. Now, I'm not sure what the actual statistics or percentiles are, the game doesn't tell us, but it seems to be a 50-50 chance either way. 50% shot an enemy flees when hit, or a 50% chance your opponent frenzies and just starts attacking everyone and everything nearby for a little while. While the staves are certainly at the forefront, Arms of Chaos also adds in a new ring with its own model. It's called the Sovereign Band, and it increases your magicka regeneration speed by 10%. There's also a new amulet called the Warlock's Mark that lowers conjuration spell cost by 30%. Again though, it's really the staffs that this DLC is focused on. Now, what is worth discussing is the lore behind all of these items. Because as we learn from some journals we find during the very short fetch quest to get them all in the first place, as well as the Arms of Chaos store page, all 4 of these objects were made by one of the descendants of the original creator of an item called the Staff of Chaos. The Staff of Chaos was a, well, staff that played a huge role in the Elder Scrolls 1 arena. The story of that game went that a battle mage by the name of Jagar Tharn used the staff to imprison the Emperor of Tamriel in Oblivion and impersonate him. Knowing that the only way his spells could be broken was if his staff was turned on him, Jagar broke the object up into 9 shards and hid them in the most dangerous places on the continent. During Arena, the player, or the Eternal Champion as the game referred to you as, would recover those 9 pieces, rebuild the staff, and use it to free the Emperor and defeat Jagar. At least, those are the spark notes of the game. At the end of Arena, the staff was destroyed. However, at least according to the Creation Club, a descendant of the staff's original creator attempted to recreate its magical effects across 4 items. The items we obtain through the Arms of Chaos creation. To be honest, the Staff of Chaos was an extremely powerful, world-changing relic in Arena. So I'm not so sure if I feel like these 4 items, which are all comparatively weak, really live up to its legacy. But they all do look pretty cool. Whether it's 500 credits cool is a decision I'll leave up to you. Next, for 400 credits, is Spell Knight Armor. This MOT creation centers around a new armor type called Spell Knight. The armor comes in 3 sets: Iron, Steel, and Ebony, with Iron offering the least damage protection and Ebony offering the most. In my opinion, this is the best looking apparel we've gotten out of the Creation Club thus far. The textures and models are quite grand, but also aren't over the top. To get your hands on these items, or get these items on your hands, you'll have to go through the short quest, which automatically pops up in your journal upon loading into a game. While it's also nothing especially complex, I found the Spell Knight Armor's quest to be considerably more enjoyable than the one offered by Arms of Chaos. It begins with you going to Markarth to read a short book that tells the tale of a noble order from High Rock, called the Knights of the Crypt, who've sworn to defend the defenseless and bring justice to those who deserve it. Think generic good guys. Well, the book states that one of their members was recently killed in the Reach, and legend has it that his restless ghost still wanders the roads. Quite spooky. Once you've opened the book, you'll be given an objective to find that ghost and follow him to his grave. where you'll need to defeat some nearby Forsworn who've been messing with it, before being given another objective, to go track down his heart, which was stolen and is currently being used in a Forsworn ritual at a different location. Go there, murder a bunch more Forsworn to death, grab the heart, and return it to the grave to put the spirit to rest, and be given his Ebony Spell Knight armor as a reward, completing the quest. Additionally, along the way you'll also find the steel and iron armor sets on a few bodies. Personally, despite its simplicity, I really liked this mission. Unlike the Arms of Chaos quest, I didn't feel like this one was compromising existing lore just as an excuse to add in some new items with a familiar brand. But instead, it told its own story, one that doesn't conflict with or depend on what we already know, but still came across as interesting. I've already stated that I'm a fan of the armor sets themselves, so overall, this one gets my seal of approval. Third, for 400 credits, there is Shadowfront Sanctum. Shadowfront Sanctum is a player home developed by mod author Eleonora. It can be found deep within the Riften sewers, and once everything's been installed, can be purchased from the Ragged Flagon's innkeeper, Vekkel the Man, for 7,500 gold. The home itself comes across as a welcome dwelling for any thief character, truly making it feel like you've been given your own spacious section of the Ratways to call your own. The entrance is simple and sewer-like, but the lower levels of the house, I suppose, have more luxurious amenities. All of the standard crafting and alchemy workshops are present. Plus, as an added bonus that fits with the theme, there's even a hidden treasure and display room behind a wardrobe panel for you to show off any collectibles of your choosing. I've stated before that I've never been a very big player home guy, but of all the ones we've seen featured in the Creation Club thus far, this one is easily my favorite, largely because the concept comes across as creative and well put together. The trouble for me is that since I really just ignore player homes, I'm probably never going to come back to this location ever again. So if you share in my sentiment, chances are you won't be interested in paying $4 just to look around a new sewer for a few minutes and never go back. But if you are a fan of this type of content, player homes have an integral role in your playthroughs and whatnot, and have enjoyed similar mods and creations before, overall I think you'll be very satisfied with this one. And finally, the last creation we'll be looking at is also the biggest of this batch, and that is Umbra, for 500 credits. Umbra, right off the bat, is a name that likely sounds very familiar to some Elder Scrolls veterans out there. That's because Umbra was a sword first featured in Morrowind. It was a Daedric artifact created for Clavicus Vile, god of pacts and bargains. According to legend, shortly after its creation, the blade became sentient. It developed a mind of its own and escaped from Clavicus. In Morrowind, we found it being wielded by an orcish warrior whom it drove crazy. He claimed the sword talked to him, and even started calling himself Umbra too. We could defeat the Osmer in battle and take the sword for ourselves. In Oblivion, the sword could be found again, this time being used by a Bosmer, also calling herself Umbra, whom it seems to have driven crazy, and whom you would have to defeat. Seeing Umbra offered as a creation in Skyrim shouldn't be much of a shocker. Bethesda has reintroduced a number of prominent weapons from previous Elder Scrolls games through the marketplace. And if I'm being completely honest, when you do get your hands on this item, it's nothing to write home about. The model and texture is unique, though largely bland, and the weapon is strong, dealing 29 points of damage, plus absorbing some 25 points of additional health and stamina per swing, and trapping souls, but that hardly warrants a 500 credit price tag. So what's the deal here? Well, where this creation distinguishes itself is actually the quest you have to go through to obtain it. Because in order to get the sword, you'll first have to make your way through an enormous, custom-made new dungeon called Champion's Rest. Once the creation has been downloaded, you'll be given a quest marker leading you here. And altogether, I'll just straight away say, I was very impressed. By Creation Club standards, it's excellent. Your experience won't be too different from any other ancient Nordic ruin. Just clear out a bunch of skeletons slash Draugr, solve a couple puzzles, and ultimately face off against a boss to get the sword and complete the quest. Though, again, the dungeon is much larger than most, and it had some environments and areas that stuck out as particularly creative looking. Furthermore, there's some left behind journals from some Vigilants of Stendarr that came before you, that provide some additional lore and contextual information about the place, if that's your thing. So, would I recommend Umbra? Well, honestly no. The dungeon is great, the sword is fine, and the lore is cool, but I'm not sure if paying $4 to go through a dungeon once and get a sword that I'll never use again is entirely worth it. The Spell Knight armor is different. I expect I'll actually use that quite a bit, many times in each playthrough. But it's not like I'm gonna come back to this ruin I've already cleared just to look around or something. So, I have to hesitate here. I have to reiterate, the quest you go through to obtain this item is excellent. The dungeon is amazing, at least by Creation Club standards. However, the entire experience lasts about 15 minutes, and the reward itself is lackluster at best. That all said, as I'm about to touch on with the conclusion of this video, I do think Umbra has a good spot in a bundle later on down the line. But on its own 2 feet, can't really recommend it for 500 credits. This brings us to the end of the video. As a whole, Bethesda's most recent wave of creations is pretty much par for the course with what we've come to expect. The content isn't nearly as bad as what the CC launched with, and has seen quality improve a great deal over time, but I still struggle to find appropriate value. Back in December with their previous wave, we got the Forgotten Seasons package, which really did blow me away. So I had some subtle hopes for a similar experience this time around. Something we've seen Bethesda do with a lot of content on the club is package it into various bundles, and sell those bundles for less than what the collective items are priced at. There's been a weapons bundle, a dwarven-themed items bundle, a survival bundle, and many others. So I expect a lot of what came out today will eventually find itself in similar deals. This has been something I've really liked. I think so much of what the store offers is much better for everybody when pulled together. You know that Umbra micro DLC alone may not be worth $5 in my opinion, but when combined with the Knight armor, the two collectively could go for maybe $7. In summary, these releases were the micro DLC equivalent of Season 4 of Game of Thrones for me. You know, not particularly great, but also not particularly bad. It was okay. And hopefully much of this content will make its way into bundles, where its value can be increased greatly. Anyway, on that note, we are going to wrap up Skyrim's March of 2019 wave of Creation Club creations. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Which of the ones we showed off today did you find to be your own personal favorites? Which of these did you like? Which did you dislike? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.